everybody. My name is Patrick Rhein, and I'm the host of a new podcast that has been put together by Theresa Hawco next to me. Theresa, I know you for quite a few years. We've been lucky to know each other and share a few events. Wonderful. And now you decide to be here on a podcast. Why? Why are we here?
Well, we're here because in 2009, I saw a need to write a book. And my book was on 31 virtues. And ever since it was written, I kept feeling I need to do something else with it. But what? And so fast forward ahead, we're in 2021, and I believe that the need now is to put the 31 virtues on a video podcast. I want to do one virtue per month in video form and put my book on Audibles. And the main reason is I see a need in our world back then, and it's even more so now. And that's my goal.
Wonderful idea. I'm actually going to do the same.
Good for you.
Yeah, you motivated, you inspired me. Speaking of inspiration and who you are, we got to know a little bit more about you. So Theresa is an amazing human being, and she's been in health and wellness for the longest time, over 3 decades. You've changed life in so many of people's life in so many ways, and you participate also to the community. You were part of the Peel Coalition for Body Image.
Yes.
You also you like really colorful background. And then, like you said, in 2009, you decided to really put more into helping the world by writing this book called The 31 Virtues.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to add something more about you? Because I'm sure I missed a lot. You have so much to offer, and I know you, and I could speak about you for ages, but we're not here for that. So tell me.
Well, I saw the need to write my book in 2009 because a few years before that, I saw my daughter, who was a struggling single mom with my 2 grandsons. And I kept thinking, gosh, how can I help them? And what I realized through my own life development is when our life is not running smoothly, usually the best thing to do is go back to the basics. And so the basics for me is living through your virtues, kindness and love and just different things like that. And so I saw that need, and that's why I really wanted to put it out there.
Okay, but Theresa, I'm very familiar with the word values, but I'm not very familiar with the word virtues, and I'm kind of mixed up. I mean, you have sometime explained to me, but I need some more clarification around that. So what's the difference?
Well, the difference is values are more subjective. It's what a person may value. I may value healthy eating. You may value lots of treats and snacks. And I may value, looking after the land. And another person may value wanting to get into real estate and make an empire. And so it's very subjective per person. Whereas virtues it's your operating system. Just like we're born with hands and feet, I believe that we were born with these virtues. We were born with a perfect operating system. And so over time, they may get a little cloudy or a little buried or whatever. But the thing is, with virtues, it's your moral code. And you might say, well, what's the importance of a moral code or virtues? And it's like driving a car with a good compass, a good roadmap. And in life, if we don't have this foundation, then what happens is we will end up somewhere, just like your car will bring you somewhere, but it may not be the life that you want.
But are the virtues something we learn of, or is it like, pre-programmed in us? Or how do you see that?
Well, I believe we are born with them. I believe we're born perfect, and we have all the tools. Our inner tools is what we really need to have a wonderful, magnificent life. And so I believe, just like I said, we're born with feet and hands, we're also born with this system. Just like when you get a computer, you have an operating system, then old files, viruses get in it, and you go, why can't I get my computer to work? Well, it's the same thing with virtues. We have our parents, and this is not a blame thing. We have our parents that teach us their belief system, and then we have teachers that teach us their belief system. And over time, we may get a little bogged down. And, once we get a cleanup, just like you clean, you call Geek Squad and clean your computer. Once you get that done, you're off and running again. And so I believe that we're born with these amazing things. If you ever look at a child, you can see a child knows how to have fun and laughter. They know how to love, and they know how to be kind.
So why do you feel some people live with virtues and others not? Or are we all living with virtues and we just activate them, or we don't?
Well, I don't think it's a matter of activation. I think basically, as we grow and develop, they say the most formative years for a child is from birth to 7 years old. And so basically, we're little sponges just walking around, and we take in everything. We may not even be paying attention to what's on TV or our parents or teachers or anyone like that. But the thing is, we're soaking it all in. And so if what we're soaking in is hardship or sadness or stress or anger or any of those things, then the virtues, our operating system, basically, it never goes away, but it kind of gets really hidden. And so we start learning just bad habits. And then if the habits becomes a lifestyle, then one day we can hit a proverbial bottom, such as I did, and said, oh my gosh, like broken relationships, sadness, lack of this, lack of money, lack. And so I knew that I had to go back in time, do a real big cleanup, and then start learning, living out of these virtues. And that's exactly what I did.
Yes, and that leads me to the next question, but I will need you to give me some examples. So, like my next question was about, the program that you have created around these virtues. So you started with your own family, if I recall, right? So
Yeah.
why? Did you see a need, or how did this program start?
Well, in 2005, going way back, I went on this Christmas spiritual retreat. and I learned, it was my evolution, and I found myself there, and I learned about, or refreshed my memory about, values and virtues and all kinds of moral things. And it clicked. I thought, I can do this with my daughter and grandsons. And that's where I guess I saw that light. And for 3 years, I carried on that program. We didn't know what we were doing in the beginning. It just evolved as it went. And we did all kinds of positive things, talk about gratefulness. And then every 2 weeks, we would get together, have dinner, and then pick one virtue, work with that. And then we did that every 2 weeks. And it was amazing.
Okay. And so why is it important to live a life of virtues?
Well, going back to the program a little bit, the changes I saw in my family were amazing. And all I did was create a safe place, a forum for us to sit and express. And I learned more about my grandsons through our program than I had ever known. Their feelings, they were going through a rough separation time, and they expressed different things. And I thought, if this can help our family, this definitely can help other people too.
Okay, so give me some example of what happens, because I really want to understand, and give me some example of virtues as well, so I can see
Okay.
how it shapes and how it shapes up in a real world, so to speak.
Right. Well, some of the virtues I wrote about, and going back, like, virtues has been since the time of man. It doesn't really have a belief system or a religion, but it has all of that, because most people that have a pretty peaceful kind of life have learned that there's certain moral code we follow, and it results in a great life. And so some of the virtues that we've all heard about are love, kindness, forgiveness, compassion, confidence, flexibility, fun and laughter. My last one I wrote on was fun and laughter, because that's so important. And so what ends up happening when you start living from this space is you'll find that you'll become happier and healthier and more abundant in so many ways. It's like a miracle light that goes on. It's so wonderful.
So how do you live from this space? You have like a practice. Can you give me some little example of how you can integrate all this awareness around these virtues?
Sure. One of the first things that my family and I did when we sat down with our program, we had dinner, and then we each had a journal. And the very first thing we did was we numbered 1 to 5. We wrote 5 grateful things that we were grateful for. It could have been anything, could be your toes, whatever. And so we would go around our table and talk about the different virtues, the different things we were grateful for. And what that did was set a pace. And even today in my own life, I live in gratitude for everything. Even if things aren't going so great, I go, yeah, I'm still here to do the best I can. And so it's having a practice of feeling grateful. I personally meditate every day and pray every day. And and once you start putting, to me, what I do is kind of virtues in action.
And I think it's a good point, Theresa, because if I can imagine you sitting with your family and talking about that, it kind of creates almost a matrix of understanding of what that virtue is all about. And then it automatically create an impact on a very deep level. And then if you can basically think, oh, okay, next week we're going to meet again and we're going to talk about another virtue, then it really continue to build up and helps you to have a better life or better character or better appreciation of everything. Is that right?
Yeah, that's very true. I saw a change in our family, and it really fired me up. I thought, if this can, help our little family. I saw the benefits. I saw we were more open with each other. We seemed happier, and we were focusing on something positive every 2 weeks. There's things in life that get you down, but when you get together and for a certain purpose and start working with it, and we were all on the same page. And I would ask my grandsons, okay, we're talking about kindness today. So in the next 2 weeks, where can you display kindness? And then 2 weeks later, when we got back together, I would say, so how did you display kindness? How did you display kindness? And we would all take a time to talk. And so what it does, it brings all this goodness to the forefront of your mind.
I really appreciate that, and I can imagine now it's a good time. We're living at the time of this recording, a very strange time of, confinement, and maybe people need to stay together. So it's a perfect time to practice these virtues and do what you just explained, sitting down and speak about this and how can you demonstrate kindness around you during the next 2 weeks and then talk back about it. I think it's a really great way to integrate and understanding the power of a word that define, that you have to define at the beginning. And I think this is also what you do in your book, right? You explain what the virtue is all about, and then you give a little bit of exercise. Is that how did you write your book? Can you explain a little bit?
Yes. Basically, this can be used anywhere. It can be used in families. It can be used in corporations. Anywhere you have a group, not even a group, you can just pick one virtue a day, or a month, or a year, and work on just that. And that's the beauty of it. It's simple. It can be your pace, and Patrick, the reason why I really decided to do this video podcast on the 31 virtues is because I kept asking, what do I need to do? And then one day during COVID, when COVID first happened, everything was shut down. And all of a sudden, I had lots of time to just be and meditate. And then one day in my meditation, there was a clear voice that basically said, do video podcasts on virtues, because the world could really use it always, but especially now. I mean, yourself, the suicide rate has gone up, the violence has gone up. And so this is my small way of putting it out there in the world to help people.
And it's so beautiful. I totally agree. It's time for that. We need it much more than any other time. And for sure, it's something you need all your life long. But I have a question about 31. Why did you choose 31 virtues?
That's a good question. Well, there's many virtues. There's way more than 31. But I guess when I was thinking about my book, I wanted to make it simple, and I wanted to put it in a simple form. And so I saw in my mind the calendar. 31. I thought, oh, this could be 31 days. And actually, in my book, I say day 1 is kindness, day 2 is courage. And so that's how I did it. And each day is anywhere from, like I have a physical book, so it's anywhere from 3 to 5 pages. And so the format is, it talks about the actual virtue, and then I ask a couple of questions at the end. So how can you put kindness into your life right now? Or who do you feel in your life could really use some kindness? So I asked little questions, and the reason why I did that format is because that was kind of the format that I did with my family. And we kept it simple, and you can go as deep as you want, but we didn't want to put out some big program where you thought, oh, not again. So we wanted to keep it simple.
Yes. And what, so you said you saw some transformation and changes. Now it's like, 22 years later almost, that, or 21 years later, after, your family, your grandkids are grown up, and your daughter. So what did you see change since this first impact?
Well, first of all, I saw the change within myself.
Yes.
Once I started incorporating the virtues on a constant basis in my own life, I saw big changes. I saw myself turn adversities into victories. I saw turning a sad life into a really happy, blissful life. I saw so many, my life was heavy and now it's light. And, it was like walking from being in a fog to bright lights. And so I saw that with my family too. And I could tell that they were looking forward to it. My grandsons at the time were only 6 and 11. And
Oh,
usually
wow. So they were only 6 and 11, and you were talking about these important matters already.
yeah, and
Wow.
I didn't know what they expect. I mean, they could have went, oh, Nana's coming over again, but it wasn't like that. It was because it gave them an opportunity to express as well.
And to learn about all these concepts, because I think this is great when at such a young age they have access to that. This is really can make a big difference for the future as well.
Yeah, I think so. As children grow up, they get a little off track sometimes, and because they're trying to figure out who they are. But the bottom line is the way I felt was, if you can give younger to better children, these strong virtues
Great. Yeah.
to hang on to, then it's instilled in them, and they'll wander in life a little bit, but they'll always have that fire within. And that was my hope.
Yeah. And so did you see that, helping them along the way, like now in these past 10 years? And
Yes, one of the things
that,
sorry, one of the things I see in my grandsons is kindness. They're big, tall boys now. One is 6 feet, and when I see them, they give me a big hug, and it kind of brings me back. But I can feel the connection, and I see their kindness. It shows up in a very different ways. And it's the proof in a person's life is how they live. That's really, basically what virtues do is developing your life, your world from the inside out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, and and it's on a deep level. So, how does that? How will that manifest in your podcast? How are you gonna create that, and what can people expect from that?
Well, what I'd like to do is, I'm not sure if it's going to be with every 30, all 31 virtues, but my aim is to have, uh, pick choose a guest to speak on a virtue. And it would be someone that I really feel I can look and go, that person lives with kindness on a constant basis, or this person is in total, uh, they have courage all the time. And yourself, I go, that person, he lives in love all the time. I've known you a long time, and that is the one constant I can say for you is your driving force is just love. And so that's what I want to do. I want
You
people.
mean that I'm going to be one of your guests?
Yes, you are going to be one of my guests.
Oh,
And what I want people to get from it is that they can relate. They can relate to what my guest and myself are saying, and just everyday things. Uh, it just where you might, a person watching might go, yeah, I want more of that in my life, or I feel that way about trust or faith. And, it's, I want it to be very relatable, and for someone to walk away going, yeah, that feels good to me too.
a source of inspiration, we could say, right? It's like a
Yes.
yeah.
That is my greatest thing, is if I can say or do something to motivate or inspire someone's life where it can become better, I'm serving my purpose at that point.
That's right, and we all should do.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Theresa. I'm very excited and looking forward to all the coming podcasts and to listen to all the people you have in mind that you want to invite, and continue to dig deeper on this very important matter, which is the how we live by and what do we live by. And it's interesting because 31 is good, and like you say, we could probably extend it, but it's a good start, right? 31, if we can integrate that, that's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it took me a little while to get through all 31 all my life. And so I just figure it's a good start. And once my book is up on Audibles, I will be doing videos to let people know when they can, get that, access that. And if somebody wanted to contact me, they can always contact me through my email, Theresa with an H, Hawco, Theresa.Hawco, HAWCO @gmail.com, because, feedback is a wonderful thing. And I just
You
am
create
excited.
also workshop, I think, right? You have also a possibility to create workshop if you have a group of people interested, like a
Yeah.
family, like a family or some, for example, right? It's just come on top of my mind here.
Sure. But down the road, workshops are a possibility. I think it'll be more Zoom workshops because it seems to be the way to go.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we have the internet these days, so we can all stay connected, because we're all home. And excuse me. And so, yeah, workshops are definitely a possibility. And, you know,
One, you know what, Teresa, one day you have a holographic presence. It's going to be less just 2D. It's going to be holographic, so it's going to be more interesting. But we're not there yet.
No, not yet. But one can only wait and hope, right?
That's right. That's right. Yes, so wonderful. If you want to contact Theresa directly, again, THERESA.HAWCO@gmail.com. And we are certainly looking forward to see you all again on the next podcast and go through that journey of fulfillment and joy and amazing life that we can live thanks to just new awareness and be aware of what we can live by and how we can actually put it out there, right? So the keys to live a better life. Well, Theresa, any other last word for our audience?
Only that I'm extremely excited to have done this podcast. And I invite anybody to join us over the next coming months. And any feedback is always wonderful. And a feedback on how maybe something has changed your life. I think the more we share in a positive, high vibrational way, the better off our lives will be. We're all in this world together.
Yes, totally. And what if somebody wants to read your book? Is that possible? And how do they get access to it?
Right now, my digital book is not on the web because I really, I have found that most people these days seem to be listening to books. I know myself, I listen to books all the time, and that's why I wanted to upload it to Audibles. And so I figured if a person wants to buy a book, they can get it there and then join me once a month to go through the different virtues. And that way it's kind of a little bit of a workshop just doing that, right?
Totally. Okay, great to know. Thank you. So that's another incentive to go back to your podcast and listen to everything and being in action instead of just in our mind, right?
Yeah. And I'll keep people updated on Facebook about when my podcast is happening. And I expect to start an Instagram as well, so I can tell people about it there as well. So I'll get it out there to everyone.
Great. Thank you, Theresa. It was beautiful to hear more about these virtues, and I'm very much looking forward to the next podcast. And I wish everybody a great rest of the day or evening, depending when you listen to this recording, and see you next time.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Bye for now.